I am Chitra Singla. I have received placement offers from Google and Amazon. Yes, so when I was in 11th and 12th, I studied C++, so I liked that very much. We had one online coding round in which it contains two DSA questions and the question difficulty was medium to hard level. So we must try to tell the basic brute force solution first and then we should try to optimize. So just be consistent, like don't stop coding in between. Just be consistent and practice as much as you can.
So, hi everyone, welcome to Placement Experience Journey brought to you by UpScale Talks. So, continuing ahead with the series, we have now someone again from the software domain. So, we have gotten Chitra. So, Chitra currently has offers from Google and Amazon for the full-time employment and has a 6-month internship offer from Walmart as well. So, hi Chitra, how are you? Can you just tell us more about your journey? We are too excited to hear it from you.
Hi Archit, so I am Chitra Singla. I have received placement offers from Google and Amazon and at the end of my third year I interned at Amazon, so there I got PPO. Also I am currently interning at Walmart. Apart from this, I am currently a mentor at Codess Cafe and before Codess Cafe I was a mentor at Wootech also.
Okay, so I think we can discover more throughout you during the course of this video, and this initially is a phase wherein I talk about the company or the company that you're placed in, but I think Google does not need any introduction. We all are familiar with Google. That is a one tap search option. So can you just tell us about how did you shape that? Yeah, I wanted to pursue a career in software development. Some of your experiences or journeys that you want to share with us. How did you decide upon the stream?
Yes, so when I was in 11th and 12th, I studied C++, so I liked that very much. So when I came to college, I got software engineering branch in Delhi Technological University. So I pursued my coding career from there. And I was in a lot of societies, so I got to talk to a lot of seniors. They told about the software development profile and the top tech companies. So I started preparing for that and eventually I got offer from Google and Amazon.
Oh yeah, I don't think that when you enter the college you might have thought that I would be getting offers from Google, Amazon and all of these big tech giants. But yes, congratulations to you on that. And now we can just focus through during the course of this video we can focus on the Google process. We might shoot another for the Amazon and the Walmart processes. But now coming back to Google, so can you just tell us about the the placement procedure, events, and that it was an on-campus opportunity that you got. So can you just tell us about the eventual all the events that happened during the course you got placement offer from Google? I mean, what were the rounds? If you remember any of the questions out of those rounds, that might help our viewers watching this video.
Yes, so Google was one of the first tech companies that visited DTU and it came for software as well as hardware roles. So we will be talking about software roles only in this video. And the process was like we had one online coding round in which it contains two DSA questions and the question difficulty was medium to hard level. After the online coding round, we got the shortlist about a week ago and then we had 3 technical interview rounds. The first interview started with my introduction and the interviewer's introduction. After that, he asked me the question on graphs. Then I told the approach and after that he asked me another variation of that question. After the 2 DSA questions, he asked me some of the questions based on situation based, like we are given a situation and what I will do in that situation. That kind of questions. After this, the first interview ended and after about half an hour, I got to know that I was selected for the next round. The next round started with the DSA question and it was also from graphs. Then he asked me another variation of that question and that interview ended. The third interview started with, he briefed me about the interview. He asked my introduction and gave his introduction also. After that, he asked me a very different kind of question. It was related to OOPS plus DSA. Basically, the main aim of that question was to judge me how much I know OOPS and the basics of DSA. Then after that, he asked me another question. It was an easy question based on array. Then he also asked me some situation based questions like what I will do in that situation. Something like what will happen if we are working on a project and the one of the person has the conflicting decisions with me. So what I will do in that case, something like that. Then all the three interviews ended, and by the end of the day, we got the results.
Okay. Chitra, I was listening to you very carefully when you mentioned that in the first two rounds, you were asked somewhat of a DSA question related to graphs. So, how important does it become to, I have seen a lot of interviewers asking to optimize the solution, like if you have written any particular code. So, how important it becomes, you have a second thought or, second approach to solve that question? Because I see a lot of interviewers asking about the optimizing the problem that you have solved.
Yes, so when we got the question, so we must try to tell the basic brute force solution first, and then we should try to optimize it. Like initially, the brute force solution is generally high polynomial or the exponential solution, and we will try to optimize it to basically linear or quadratic solution. So it's very important. And also one more thing, like in Google interviews, they didn't ask any question on resume.
Okay.
So they only ask DSA questions and the situation based questions.
Okay, but I think just talking about the generic companies, not just specific to Google, as you mentioned that you have already appeared for Walmart and Amazon as well. So, how important does it become in those situations, the resume or the profile that you are presenting to the interviewer? How impactful is that? Can you just tell us some ways how did you shape your journey, or kind of projects and internships, how do they matter, and what kind of projects should the person watching this video pursue?
Okay, so resume is very important, and in other two companies in Amazon and Walmart, they asked me the questions about the resume, the internship I did, the projects I have made, the skills I have mentioned. So I think it's very important to have a good resume, and you must do an internship to gain the practical experience, and also the interviewer asked some questions on the project, like what difficulty you faced while making the project, what did you learn new during the project. So the resume is important, and making good projects is also important.
Okay. Also, one more question all of our viewers must be having is that how important is CGPA in these conditions? I mean, getting shortlisted to appearing for interviews, how important that becomes a CGPA factor when you are appearing for these kinds of interviews?
Okay, so my CGPA was 9.5 plus all the time. So I feel the CGPA is also important, as some of the companies has criteria. Suppose like if 200 people are appearing in an online coding test, and out of them 50 have done all the questions, and then what's the basis of criteria to select? So I think they judge on the basis of CGPA at that time to shortlist a few students, like 20 or so. So CGPA is important, and above 8.5 CGPA is good to have.
Okay. Also, one more question over here is that when you are appearing for such kind of interviews, how important is the practical exposure or some kind of those things? When you said that open source projects, something like that. How important are they, or what kind of role do these kind of things play when you are appearing for these interviews?
Okay, so these are important as well, because if you have done a great open source projects, you will write in your resume. And when the interviewer read your resume, he found it interesting. So you have something to talk about in your interview. Apart from DSA, you have something to talk about. Like he can ask some questions on resume also, and on core subjects also. If you don't have these things, he will ask only DSA questions. So I think
Also,
it's better to have.
also that you have I see that you have cleared three interviews of three big tech giants in the industry, and there are a lot of people having all the essential skills. They are masters at coding, have a great CGPA, but are still not able to clear that interview. We call it the interview fear, to be honest. So what is your strategy? How did you overcome those situations? Because I think that at some point of time, yeah, you would must be also feeling that I won't be able to clear this interview, but you fought that with the interviewer that I will keep on repeating, trying all of the things. So how did you manage in those situations?
Okay, yes, there can be interview fear, and it might be the cases that you complete the DSA question, but still you are not getting selected. So there are a lot of factors on which you are judged in an interview, and solving the DSA question is only one of them. So the other factors might be like how you approach a question, how you are optimizing it, are you asking the right questions. Basically, when you interview presents the problem, he presents an open-ended problem. So you have to ask the clarifying questions to know what the exact problem is. Then after that, like, are you telling the brute force approach or only? And if sometimes what happens is like people usually say the most optimized approach at first. So interviewer will get to know that you already know the question and he will ask you some tougher questions. So it's better to start with the brute force solution and then try to optimize it a little bit. After that, are you writing the clean code only or not? Most of the interviews happen on Google Doc or something like that. So they don't have the auto completion feature like auto brackets complete or indentation. So it's very important that you write neat and clean code. Proper well intended code is very good to have. Also, how are you naming your variables? Like it's not A, B, C, it should be proper variable names. Then are you explaining while writing your code, like what does this line mean? Then after writing the code, you should try run it on the sample examples given. It's very important. Then also, are you telling the right time complexity or space complexity for that? So all these factors are very important, and I think this is the reason why many people solve the questions, but they don't focus on these factors. That's why they get rejected.
Okay, I think we can move ahead with the presentation, and now let's just talk about your journey. So can you just tell us, as you previously mentioned that, how was your journey? You mentioned that had a great knowledge during 11th and 12th, but after that, appearing for these companies and preparing the profile in a way these companies like. So how important is that factor, and how did you shape your journey?
Okay, so I got to know about coding in my 11th and 12th only. So I learned the basics at that time only. So when I came to college, I know the basics of coding, and I got into very several SIGs or something like I got into IEEE, and IEEE had several SIGs where the seniors teach coding, and also there is one decoder group and I attended those classes. So I got to more about coding. And after my first year, I took a course from Coding Blocks. There I did all the DSA basics, and then I moved to Code Forces. So I did regular practice there, gave contest, and after about an year or so, I reached the expert level. So I think that's very good to have. Then after that, I enrolled into I became a mentor at Wootech and Codess Cafe. So I think all of this helped in my preparation, and I was into competitive programming, so it also helped a lot to me.
Okay. So, also a question over here that you mentioned you were into the competitive programming. So, what do you think that, appearing for the competitive programming, or, preparing in such a way helped you excel in the interviews or the, practice problems while practicing? How is it different from a normal DSA practice?
Okay, so competitive programming helped me a lot. So, it improves your problem solving skills, and the problems asked in the interviews and in the online coding test are only easy and medium competitive programming level contest only. So, if you give a CP contest, so you will get familiar with the online test environment. Basically, how to solve questions in a timed environment, that pressure of solving 3 questions in 2 hours. So you will get familiar with that, and also you will be better able to solve the questions as the CP questions are much harder than the interview questions. So I think it helped a lot to me, and it helps everyone.
Okay, there are, I see that a lot of people are practicing DSA, but they are not aware what should they do after this. So I have, taken interviews from a lot of seniors. So someone says that, competitive programming is best. Others say you should get into some development, practically implement those things. So what are your opinion on these? And, can you just define that which person should pursue which subjects, if you can just throw some light on that?
Okay, so I think everyone should do DSA. Apart from DSA, if you like competitive programming, you can go to that also. And if you like open source development, choose any one of them. Like both are doing simultaneously is very difficult. So choose any one of them and then excel in it. So how to do competitive programming? So basically, like choose a programming language. Either it can be C++ or Java. Preferably, these languages are preferable, not the Python, JavaScript like that. So choose any one of them, and don't spend too much time in learning the programming language. Like just learn their basics, how array works, string works. It's fine. Then you start with the DSA and competitive programming. Then practice regularly. Give as much as contest you can. It will help.
Okay, now I think we can move to the last section of our presentation, wherein you said that you are already mentoring a lot of students, and you have also joined UpScale. So, can you just tell us what is your advice to the viewers watching this video if they haven't started the prep yet? For the sake of the convenience, we can assume that they are in first, second, and third year. So, can you just respectively give advices to all of these year students watching this videos and haven't started the prep yet and have a dream to land in one of those FANG companies?
Okay, so you can start anytime. Like there is no limit that you can't start in third year. Start as early as possible and start learning with a programming language. Choose any one of C++ or Java. Then learn its basics. Then do the DSA. You can do DSA from Geeks for Geeks, or there are many online courses available. After that, I think move to code forces. Start practicing on code forces and give as many contests as you can. And by giving the contest, I mean like if you are able to solve two questions in a contest, then after the contest, try to solve the third question also. It will improve. You will eventually improve there only. Okay, and apart from DSA, you should also do core subjects like OOPS, TVMS, operating system. And the people who are appearing for placements should do computer networks or basics of system design also. Because they might ask system design for freshers also, but only the basic level. Also, you should have good command on the projects. The interviewer can ask any question on your project, like how you got the idea of doing the project, what difficulties you faced, what you learned new. So in one of the interviews, I was asked like, what did I learn from by doing this project? So these questions are very important. You should answer these questions. And if your project is based on like C++ or something, then he might ask you the time complexity of that project also. So I have one project of C++ in my resume. So he asked me what will be the time complexity of the project. So these questions are very important for the projects. Then give as many mock interviews as you can. Mock interviews help you to find out your mistakes, and you will improve your mistakes and don't commit that mistakes again in the interview. So give as many mock interviews as you can, and practice on Google Docs also. As I said, like most of the companies don't have text editor, so they give a Google Docs or something like that. It doesn't have indentation or auto completion feature, so try to practice there also and write the neat and clean code. Some companies might ask puzzles also, so prepare them well too.
Okay. Chitra, can you just answer this question? Because I believe that you were from the computer science background. If the person watching this video is from non-computer science background, what extra things does he need to have on his resume or his knowledge ability that he can clear all of these interviews? Because being a part of CS students, all these subjects that you have mentioned, OOPS, DBMS, were a part of your curriculum, but these are not for them, right?
Yes, so I think they should study all the subjects extra. You can study all the subjects from Geeks for Geeks or from some YouTube channels like Logic. So I think apart from these subjects, you should be well versed with the DSA and should practice coding. So CS subjects has some leverage over you. Like they have the subjects in your curriculum, and also they have DSA as their subjects also. So you have to do all the subjects apart from your curriculum.
Okay, so I think we are in a good situation to wrap this session up. So thank you, Chitra, for taking out time and just recording this session for our viewers. So thank you very much. Before we wrap this session up, do you have any last piece of advice for the viewers watching this?
Okay. So just be consistent. Like don't stop coding in between. Just be consistent and practice as much as you can. Even if you are not able to solve the question, then also like try to see the solutions and try to learn. Don't live in between.
Okay, so thank you Chitra, for taking out time, and thank you all for watching this video. Bye bye, have a nice day, take care.